Good evening and welcome to another edition of Jazz Tales here on this Veterans Day. Great that you can join us, and I'm just so thankful and happy to have one of my mentors from back in 1979 when I first got my first gig as a musician in the 1st Army Band. So it's great to have Ron Diehl here with us this evening and to hear all of the great things he's done. So let me tell you a little bit about that. He's been in demand since 1965 in the Washington, D.C. area when he first joined the United States Naval Academy Band, coming to the Navy here in the Annapolis area from his hometown of Allentown, Pennsylvania. And I believe Westchester, right, if I remember correctly? Yeah, you went to Westchester. School. Yes, yeah. Right. At the Naval Academy, he was performing on saxophone, bassoon, flute, and piccolo. He auditioned for and won the audition for in 1973 for the Navy's official jazz ensemble, the Commodores, and he held the position of lead sax and section leader until his retirement from the Navy in June of 1991. Currently, he plays with the National Symphony Orchestra and the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra in their Pops concerts, including the National Symphony Orchestra's Memorial Day and 4th of July broadcasts on PBS, which I'm a religious watcher. Every year I watch that, and every year I see you sitting back there. So, yeah. I mean, this list tells you how long he's been in this business, because some of these people, you know, back when I first started, you used to hear of playing shows with these people. But this is a list of folks that Ron's had the pleasure of playing with. Nancy Wilson, Hal Linden, Bob Hope, Sara Vaughn, Mel Torme, Chita Rivera, Vic Damone, Tony Randall, Barbara Eden, Rosemary Clooney, Johnny Mathis, Diane Schuur, and Tony Bennett. Wow. Those are some of those names we just don't hear anymore because they're not with us. But wow, what a great credentials. And just want to, a few things that I left out when I wrote this here was that from 1998 to 2001, he was director of jazz ensembles at Towson University, 1976 to 1998, instructor of saxophone, jazz band director, and instructor of jazz improvisation at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County campus. And that's where I first met him. And 1965 and 1973, instructor of clarinet and saxophone at Prince George's Community College. Just a wonderful musician. It's my pleasure to welcome Mr. Ron Diehl. Welcome, Ron.
Fred, thank you so much for inviting me. It's always a pleasure to play with you, and this is a real distinct honor. Thank you so much. I've been watching some of the other shows that you put on, and they're just fabulous.
Well, thank you.
Great idea.
Thank
Super
you.
idea.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad to be able to tell your story. And yes, he was mentioning some things about back in that 1979 era, so I'm sure we'll hear about it a little bit later on. But right now, let's play some tunes. We're going to start with Like Someone in Love. Welcome, everyone.
Felt good.
Yes. Yes.
Felt very
Well,
nice.
Yeah, I'll go to this screen. Yes. We've got two different setups here, folks, so we'll work it. I think you know how this works. I say hi to people. So we have Lou and Janet Russo up in Nutley, New Jersey. Fred and Ron have a great show. Fred, thank you for your service to our country. Well, thank you, and thanks, Ron, for his service to our country. Yes, yes.
Thank you, Fred,
That's
for
what
your
Lou
service.
said, yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Stephen and Laurie up in Easton, Pennsylvania. David and Netta up in Montville, New Jersey. Say hello. Oh, there you go. Lou says, thank you, Ron, for your service also. There we go.
Thank you.
Lou is our vice president for
Super.
Jazz Alive. Ed Refeld in Washington, D.C. says, hello, Fred and Ron. Looking forward to this concert. Fantastic hand claps. EJ Osterley. I'm sorry, EJ. I keep looking at your name, and I knew I was going to botch it sooner or later. EJ Osterley, who is the band director of Easton High School here in Easton, and I hope that he has a bunch of his students with us tonight too. Thank you, EJ. Great to have you and your students with us.
That's not far from Allentown, right around the corner from
Oh,
Allentown.
now Easton, Maryland.
Easton,
EJ.
Maryland. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
he's
There's
the
Easton,
band director
Pennsylvania.
here. Yeah, Easton, Maryland.
Sorry.
Easton,
Yeah.
Maryland. So next we're going to do Blue Daniel, yes? And you have a story with
I
with
do.
us?
I tell students to listen to different musicians, and even though I'm a saxophone player, I like to listen to different, I like to listen to trombone players and trumpet players. So this happens to be a tune written by a wonderful trombone player, a man named Frank Rosolino. And he was had a great sound, such a happy way of playing that he just attracted me to his playing. It was so wonderful to hear. And he wrote this tune called Blue Daniel. And it's a kind of a funny little tune because it's not a complete tune. It's a 14-bar tune.
Right.
So he never gets to the end of this tune, You feel like, wait a minute, there's 2 more bars left.
Right.
Wait a minute,
Right.
But anyway, so you don't get to hear the end of this tune until the actual very end. And he puts a tag. He uses a tag to end this tune. So anyway, little 14-bar jazz waltz, and it's called Blue Daniel.
But do you have any recordings of him playing it in 3? Any of the ones I have, he plays it in 4.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've always heard him playing in 3.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't have the right recordings.
Well.
Here we go.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, Ron, great call. Great call.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Osterly, thank you so much. I appreciate the clarification. Yes. So next we're going to play Joy Spring, one of my favorite tunes by Lee Morgan. You have a story here.
Well, actually, it's not by Lee Morgan.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, it's Clifford Brown. Clifford Brown. I'm
And
sorry.
this is,
Clifford Brown. Sorry.
this is another trumpet player that I admire so much when I was growing up. And when I heard Clifford for the very first time, I couldn't even believe it. He was so melodic and so beautiful, and he wrote these great tunes, you know. And I have to tell you just a little funny little story. I was doing a high school band clinic, you know, and I'm going through all the sections. I'm asking the kids. I said, "So who do you know?" I asked them, "What do you like?" Ask the saxophone. Who do you like to play? You know, you have a saxophone player you like, and so the kids would, you know, raise their hand. You know. Anyway, so I go through the trombones. Nothing. Nobody knows any trombone players. You know, high school kids. So I'm back to the trumpets, and I say, "Okay, guys, give me a trumpet player that you guys like to listen to." Crickets. Nothing. You know. So I said, "Has anybody ever heard of Clifford?" And some kid raised his hand and said, "You mean the big red dog?" You know? And I said, "No." I said, "Oh, this is hopeless."
Yeah.
So then I told them about Clifford Brown.
Right.
And hopefully they went out and got some records of Clifford. My favorite trumpet player of all time.
Yeah.
Just amazing player.
And this is a great tune. Joy Spring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Ron.
Wow.
What a great tune. What a
Yeah,
great
sure is.
tune. Oh, let me see here. We've got Peter Kaufman just joined us. Usually in Louisville, but now he's in Annapolis visiting. What a treat on a drizzly night in Annapolis. Love Ron's quote from Moon River. Very sneaky. Yes, we have hip crowd here, man.
I
We
hear
really
ya.
do.
Wow.
Rena up in Lancaster, Newmanstown, actually. Rena and Mike say hello, and Steve and Laurie say this. So you're going to sit there so we can do the interview?
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Very
Yeah.
good, very good.
There we go. All right. Great. So you've watched the show, and so you know that every time I ask this very first question, it goes with our mission here at Jazz Alive, which is to bring this music to our young people and hopefully preserve it through them getting hooked on it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because, when you and I are here no longer, I'm afraid that, when I look out in the crowd of our normal concerts, So hopefully, through organizations like Jazz Alive, we can help
Let's hope so.
our young people, look at this.
great.
So we've got some young people watching tonight, so I always ask the same thing. What was that one thing or numerous things that said to you, I have to be a musician? And more importantly, why jazz?
Well, I have to give all the credit to my older sister, Elaine, and her husband, Mathis. Because my older sister was a professional dancer when she was young, and she taught ballroom dancing. And they had this amazing collection of big band music on the 78s, and they had all this great music. And when I was just a kid, like 6, 7, 8 years old, they would play this music for me of all the great big bands, Jamie Dorsey, Tommy Dorsey, Count Basie, Duke Ellington, all the great bands. And when they would play this music, my sister told me that after they would play the music, I would be able to sing, whistle, and hum the music from that were on the records, and at a very early age, so when you say, what was it that, it wasn't that I chose the music, it was the music chose me, because it turned out that my sister Elaine thought it was a gift, that I had this gift, and of course I'm just a kid, I don't know what's going on. We would go to a movie, and I'd come out of the movie, and she told me that I'd be whistling the soundtrack.
Wow.
Or humming the soundtrack to the movie, and she didn't even really hear she's watching the movie, and I'm hearing the music.
Right.
I didn't even know what the movie was about. I'm hearing the music. That's all that's going in my head. So she told my dad, she says, I think Ryan has a gift here. Let's get him going in music, And after listening to all these great big bands, you understand why I picked the saxophone.
Sure.
Because I heard all these great saxophone players in the big bands, and I was hooked. The music really grabbed me, but that's what it was.
So it was the kind of music at that time frame was more jazz, and so it was that.
It was, big band jazz, and
Right.
and of course later on when I got a little older, like, I would focus in on a particular saxophonist, which I did, later on. Like Paul Desmond was the very first guy I listened to, but Big Blue Red Quartet. They was a real famous quartet, I mean, they were like,
They were superstars.
They were superstars. Yeah, they were. It was great.
I think they were the next thing that took over Miles and them after the big bands of Ellington and Basie.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. Wow.
And the first saxophonist I heard that drew me into in the big bands was Jimmy Dorsey.
Wow.
And what's really funny is later on in my lifetime here, I got a call from the Jimmy Dorsey band to play Jimmy Dorsey.
Wow.
So for a number of years, I played with the Jimmy Dorsey band, and I was Jimmy Dorsey,
That's very cool.
Is that really crazy?
That was a great book.
It was a great book,
Yeah.
And luckily, you know, I was a real fan of Jimmy Dorsey in the
Yeah.
day, so I knew So Rare and all these great tunes that he had down, Oodles of Noodles, you
Sure.
know, all these tunes that were in the book.
Right.
And I was just blowing them right off the stand. That was great. You know, so it felt great to be able to do it, you know.
That's very,
Isn't that
very
wild?
cool. Yeah, yeah. So did you, when you went on to college and all that, did the ease of hearing things and all that, did that constantly stay with you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it
I
was.
would say it is a gift.
It
'cause
is a gift.
Some
yeah,
of us
okay.
have to work hard at that stuff.
But you know what? Of course, my wife, you know, she might differ a little bit because I'm always whistling. She always knows where I am, you know, in the house. Anyway, I love her dearly, you know. But anyway,
Wow,
I almost drive her crazy.
That's great. Another student, actually, from I think here in Easton, if I remember the name. He says this, and David and Netta up in Montville say, "Sounding great tonight. Loved the Trading Fours."
Oh, great.
Yeah, man, that was a great story. I look forward to the next segment. But
Okay.
right now we're going to play. This is one of my favorite tunes, and I was
really?
hoping you'd bring the Barry. And this is, you know, line for lines. It's a great, great Barry tune. Is there a story behind this one?
Well, Jerry Mulligan, I would watch, I've seen many concerts with Jerry Mulligan. And which was interesting, when he had a quartet. And it was Jerry Mulligan on baritone saxophone, and also Bob Brookmeyer on valve trombone. And so, and I guess a bass and a drummer. So there's a quartet. But when Jerry played Barry, Brookmeyer played piano.
Really?
And when Brookmeyer played trombone, Jerry played piano.
Wow.
It was great. you
Wow.
know. It was sounding great, you know.
Yeah.
And so they didn't have to hire a piano player. They saved money. They got all
Darn
the
it.
money they saved. You know. Oh,
I used to like him,
Sorry
but I
about
don't
that, Fred. But it
Here we
was
go.
fun. Anyway, he was one of my
Yeah, yeah.
favorite Barry players, you know.
Line for line.
Yeah. 1, 2,
1.
how they wrote it.
Yeah. You know, I was having so much fun talking to you and playing that I forgot to do one of the things that I'm supposed to do. We'd like to thank the following two and In Sync. I would agree.
That's nice to know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And Ed just says this. I see a circle, folks. I hope this, I'm showing that I have an excellent connection, but for some reason it seems to be buffering. I'm hoping that you're getting everything that's going on. Not sure why that's happening, but we'll keep moving on. Sorry about that. It's a lot of rain here on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, so maybe that's part of the problem. Hopefully not. We're going to continue on right now with a tune by Django Reinhardt. You have a story behind this one?
Well, this is a great, beautiful, beautiful tune written by Django, a great guitarist, gypsy guitar player that was amazing. He lost part of his finger or something in a fire, you know, but he still didn't hold him back. He became a great jazz guitarist, and he wrote this tune called Les Nuages. He was French, so this means it means the clouds. Les Nuages, the clouds, and it's supposed to depict a bunch of pretty clouds just floating by. And I like to do this also, like as though we're a kind of pretty little bossa nova.
Okay.
Like, kind of like that, you know.
Here we go.
It's a real pretty tune, okay? And the first time I ever heard it was Paul Desmond.
Right.
Played this tune. I think he had Ed Bicker playing guitar behind him, but it was great. And that's the influence I have on it.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Sorry, the whole thing is buffering. I'm hoping that we're still going out and everybody's seeing us, so we'll keep going. That's such a great tune. George Reeder says, "Hello, Ron."
Oh boy.
I guess everybody's getting. I'm getting you guys on my phone, but it's frozen on my Apple TV. Agree with Edward. You guys are very tight. So I guess everybody's still getting this. My screen for what YouTube is saying you're getting is just a black screen with a buffering. But as long as you're continuing to get it, good. And we'll always have it in reruns. And if you didn't get it, let me know. I will send it to you on a different link. What do we need to do to make it right? We'll just keep
Made everything just perfect. It'd be a wonderful world. She loved going to the Gypsy, except my sister told me one time that my mother went to see the Gypsy and came home from seeing the Gypsy, having her fortune told, came home without a very expensive pair of shoes that she was wearing. As it turned out that the Gypsy just needed a little bit more cash to give her more of the fortune that was to be told. And so I guess the Gypsy liked her shoes, and so Mother gave her shoes up and took a bus home without shoes.
Wow.
Oh, I love it. What a great story.
So, apropos.
Isn't
Yes.
it? But you know what? But so that was, I thought it was a great tune, a beautiful song, and I always liked playing it. But then I heard an arrangement of Phil Woods playing this tune with a big band. And the arranger was, I think, Melba Liston was the actual arranger of it. It's a big band with Phil Woods playing this tune, and it's, if you find that arrangement, of that recording of Phil playing this tune, it's out of this world.
All right.
It really is. Anyway,
The
it's a real
Gypsy.
pretty ballad. And I hope I can do it justice here. I heard that cold. One, two, one, two. Great old tune.
It is a great old tune. No, everybody says it's buffering in a stream. We've got low bit rate, all of that. Folks, I'm sorry.
That's sad, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry that it's saying this. I have it's wired right into my modem, so I'm not doing Wi-Fi. It's just straight in. So lots of cutting in and out on my phone now. Nothing on Apple TV, folks. I'm sorry. We're going to continue doing the show. It'll be up, or I will reload it later. But we'll make it work. I'm sorry about that. We're going to keep going here, and I'll send everyone that's been watching the show an email as to how they can get the show again. So we're going to keep going, and hopefully if you can still hear us, you'll stick with us. If not, catch it later. So right now we're going to talk about mentors. So is there a person or a group of people, or
there are several. Because there was one, I thought about this. You gave me all the information. Some questions you would ask. So I go all the way back to high school. There was a young piano player, 2 years older than me. That's all he was, And we were both crazy about the G. Brubeck Quartet. I liked Paul Desmond. He liked Dave Brubeck, And but this guy, quartet together, and he'd teach me all these tunes, and we'd pick things off the piano. He'd play it, and I'd play it, and then we'd listen to the record of the quartet playing, but he taught me. I could hear, I didn't know that much, about chord progressions and, all the good things you should play. And I'm picking up all these great tunes. He taught me a lot of tunes. It was amazing, So his name was Ed Snyder. He lives in Portland, Oregon. But anyway, so I love Ed. And there was another mentor when I was in college. I was in a big band, and we were preparing to go to the Villanova Jazz Festival, this big band from Westchester State. And anyway, we had the opportunity, somebody in the band knew Phil Woods. And so Phil volunteered to rehearse our band. But we had to go to Pennsylvania. We were in Pennsylvania, Westchester's in Pennsylvania, but we had to go to New Hope. Right. And it was a restaurant in New Hope. So everybody from Westchester had to get in their cars and figure out how to get to this place in New Hope, And so we all did, and I should actually preface this a little bit. I know I've taken up a lot of time.
Oh, no.
I hope it's not. But when I was going to Westchester, we'd have all these little jam sessions, and a trumpet player came in, and he asked me, he said, "Hey, Ron, man, you sound great." He said, "Have you ever heard Phil Woods?" And at this time, I had never heard of Phil Woods. I'm a freshman in college. This guy was a junior or something. Anyway, great trumpet player. But he said, "You never heard Phil Woods?" I said, "No, I never heard Phil Woods." He said, "Well, you got to hear this guy play." So we go over to his dorm room. He puts on Phil Woods, and I couldn't believe it. Oh my God,
sure.
What a sound!
Right.
I had never heard anything like this. So anyway, getting up to being able to have the band rehearse by Phil Woods, and I'm going to get to meet him, is such an honor. My heart's pounding. I said, "Oh man, I can't wait to meet this guy." So we the band finally gets there, and he sits right next to me, and he's talking to the band. We're sitting right next to me, and just playing great, playing his horn, and he was so humble and just wonderful. It was amazing. But to hear him play, sitting next to him, it was amazing on a record. But
right.
to have him next to you,
Wow.
And so anyway, after the rehearsal's over, I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, wow, this guy's amazing. So I asked him, I said, "Mr. Woods," he said, "Call me Phil, come on." So anyway, I said, I'd love to take lessons with you. I'd love to study with you. You're my favorite saxophone player on earth. I can't believe that you're in the same room with you. And he said, "Oh, come on." Anyway, so I started taking lessons with Phil. And this was back in 1961, 2 or 3, around there, And he was living in New Hope, Pennsylvania. And I would go to his house, I'd, knock on the door, and his wife would come to the door. And at that time, he was married to Chan, Charlie Parker's wife. And, widow. But anyway, Chan would answer every time. She'd always answer the door, and they said, "Oh, come on, Phil's not quite ready yet. Would you like to have a cup of coffee and we'll have breakfast or whatever?" And anyway, so I took lessons with Phil. It was such an honor, And some of the things that he opened up my head to about playing was amazing. You know?
I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, you know, it was just crazy. I'd come in with a record and say, "What are you doing here?" You know, and he'd, "Oh, I'm playing a false fingering." "Oh, well, what?" You know, he'd
Right.
show me what it was, and it was just amazing to be able to study with somebody like that. You know?
And you had such a wealth of already recorded material to listen to. So,
Right.
wow.
Yeah.
What a great story.
You know,
Wow.
And then later on now, of course, you know, I'm out of college now, and I'm in the Navy band, and I'm playing with a lot of different great players. I get a call from Bill Potts, whose music that I had been playing all through college. You know, this is Jazz Solo Porgy and Bess album with all those great arrangements.
Right.
You know, and Bill's on the phone. Anyways, he has his real deep voice. "Hey, Ron, I heard that, you know, I heard you're a really great alto player and you've been recommended. Could you come over and play with the band?" I said, "Is this really Bill?" You know.
Right.
Anyway, it was such a great honor. So I played with Bill's band for several years. I'm on one of his albums, on the 555 Feet High
Right, yeah.
album. You know, and but what I learned from Bill was his conducting techniques, which are just out of this world, you know, swinging. Anyway, I was just filling in for a year or two until I found somebody, you know, with the papers. And so when I show up at Towson University, and I see all this great music from Hank Levy.
Oh.
The whole library is, you know,
Right.
that was so difficult looking to me when I saw the time signature, you know, 13/8, 15/8, 5, 7. So I call up Hank, who was a friend of mine. I knew Hank for years. My son Ryan played drums in Hank's band,
Right.
you know, for all 4 years. And anyway, so that's how I knew Hank real well, and I played in his band a couple times. But anyway, so I call up Hank on the phone, and I said, "Hank, this is Ron. You know, I don't know whether you heard, but they asked me to conduct the jazz bands, A and B band, at Towson for a year and maybe two until I find somebody, you know." And I said, and I'm looking at your library, and I just can't believe the great music that you have here, and the kids are just dying to play it. I said, would you mind, you know, showing me some of your techniques and helping me with the music that you've written? He said, "Could you do that?" And he said, "What are you doing right now?" And I said, "Hank, I'll be over." You know, he gave me his direct. I went over to his house. He was so generous and so wonderful. It was amazing. So Hank showed me how to conduct some of that stuff in 7 and 9, and that was just great music.
Wow.
I took the band that very first year. I took them to the Villanova Jazz Festival, and the whole band came in first place.
That's great.
It was great. Yeah, I had a great time.
Man, so great mentors. That list
You know,
of people that you mentioned, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was blessed.
Yeah.
I really feel blessed.
Wow, that's great.
To be with these people.
Wow. You know, we got to keep moving on here and play some more tunes. It seems that some of this is working and it keeps going in and out, but apparently some folks here have said that it appears to be more than just this particular, like YouTube is having issues tonight.
Really?
So maybe there's way too many people on YouTube tonight. I don't know.
Well, that could be.
Yeah,
Could be,
yeah. But like I said, we're going to keep on moving on along here. One more time, I'd like to thank our sponsors for this evening, Russo Consultants and Lens Audio and Video. Thanks so much for sponsoring our show this evening. We're going to go back and play a tune by Oscar Pettiford. This is called Cricketism. Is there a story here with this one?
Well, you know, there is a little story. Oscar Pettiford was a great bassist, and
Right.
And so a great bassist asked me to learn this tune. He was the bassist with the Navy Commodores for many years, all the while I was on that band. His name is Lou Hines. Marvelous musician,
Yep.
marvelous person, just a great, man, we had such a great time playing music together for all those years. And anyway, one day he said, "Hey Ron, you know, we used to do a lot of combo gigs, you know, we call them duty gigs, and we played a lot of things, you know, for on the side too. But anyway, he pulled this tune up and he said, I'd like you to learn to play this tune." And I said, "What is it?" Cricketism. I said, "Well, I never heard of this." He said, "Well, most sax players don't.
Right.
Bass players
bass
don't."
tune, right.
Yeah. So he said, "It's a great tune." And I looked at the key. I said, "This is in D flat, man. I don't play in D flat." Yes, you know what happens when the tune's in D flat? He said, you know what I do? Put my horn in the case. That's what
Miles.
Yeah, that's what Miles said.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's called Tricketism, and it's a lot of fun. It really is a fun, happy tune.
It is.
And so was Lou Hines.
Yes, he was. Great call. Great call. So it says we're back now. Good. And Lou says, "Way to keep going with the technical issues. True professionals." Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're going to do a beautiful ballad for you right now called "Spring Can Hang You Up the Most." I'm sure you have a reason for picking this one. This is a beautiful tune.
I just think it's a pretty tune. This is a beautiful
That's
song.
all that really needs to be said sometimes.
Yeah, the words are nice, and I don't usually listen to words much.
Yeah.
You know, which is that's another story I could go into about not knowing the words of tunes. However, yeah, this is really pretty, and this is the verse that you don't get to hear very often.
Right.
So it's like hooked up here.
Spring Can Hang You Up the Most by Fran Landsman and Tommy Wolfe.
Tommy Wolfe.
Yes. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
So we say that one day we can all listen to in the same room. Boy, Lou, you hit that. And Ed, and everybody else says the same thing. Yes. Ron, I checked out your album Sambop on Apple Music and really enjoyed it. Wonderful blend of samba and bop. There we go.
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
So we're going to thank some sponsors here because we're running out of time, actually. It
good.
always happens. Have so much fun. So we've got some students watching, and we'll learn a little bit about them. I'd like to thank Janet and Lou Russo up in Nutley, New Jersey for sponsoring Katie Fitzpatrick, who's an alto sax player in Nutley, New Jersey, and a member of the Jazz Lab, Jazz Ensemble, Wind Ensemble, and Marching Band at Nutley High School. Thank you, Janet and Lou. We appreciate your sponsorship. Next we have Sherry and John Zimmerman in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, who sponsored Jack Bumpus, an alto player in Nutley, who's in the Jazz Ensemble, Wind Ensemble, and Marching Band at Nutley High School. Thank you, Sherry and John. We appreciate it. Next, Ed Raffeld in Washington, D.C. sponsored Dan Holler, who's an alto player at Nutley High School and in the Jazz Ensemble, Concert Band, and Marching Band. Thank you, Ed, for your sponsorship. We'd also like to thank the Talbot County Arts Council, who has sponsored all of the catalog for 2020's Jazz Tales for Mr. Osterly and the Easton High School Jazz Band here in Easton, Maryland. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Mr. Osterly. And thank you, Talbot County Arts Council, for making all of that happen. Any last parting words you'd like to say for our students? Any advice? Anything that you...
You know, like I mentioned earlier that I had the distinct pleasure and honor to study with Phil Woods, who was, you know, my mentor, really. But if anyone is really interested in trying to better themselves and really wants to get really great on their instrument, find somebody to study with, someone that is really, really up there, you know, and you'll be amazed at how much you're going to learn from a real professional. That, you know, and don't be afraid to just walk up and say, hey,
That's right.
I'd love to study with you. I love the way you play.
Right.
You know, if somebody in one of the service bands or anywhere, you know, you hear somebody say, wow, that guy plays great. I'd like to find out how he plays that great. And that's how you do it. You study privately.
Right. Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
I got the opportunity to talk to Kenny Warner's wife, and that's how I got studying with Kenny, because everybody was talking to him, and I'm like, man, I got to find out if this guy's teaching, and so I went right to his wife. She said, yeah, call tomorrow, he'll talk to you.
Great.
Yeah,
Isn't that great?
no,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's
Sure.
that's excellent advice.
Really.
And I just want to say, George Reeder said, great to see my mentor still going strong and sounding great. And I got to say the same thing, you know. Thank you. Back in 1979, when you walked into the First Army Band and said, I'm teaching over at University of Maryland, and you can take the Jazz Ensemble for credit. I thank you so much. I mean, 18 years of age, and I get to play with Al Cohn because of you. Thank you so much, Ron.
Oh,
I
my
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
I'm so glad you could come over, too, because you were such a wonderful treat to have in the band. It was wonderful.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I
It really
appreciate
was.
it.
Oh,
It's been a pleasure having you here. We only have time for one more. So is it Little Girl, or it's You or No One?
let's do Little Girl.
Little Girl.
Sure.
This is one of your tunes.
There's one of the tunes I wrote, yeah.
You write it for anybody specific, or?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I wrote it for my little girl.
For your
My-
little girl.
My little girl, Marcy.
All right.
Yeah. Who is now my wife.
There you go. Little Girl
Little
by
Girl.
Ron Diehl.
Okay, I want to just give me a couple bars in the front there.
Ron, it's been such a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much.
My
I wish we
pleasure.
could keep going on and keep
My
playing
pleasure.
more tunes.
My pleasure.
Oh, man, thank you
Boy,
so
boy.
much.
Thank
Yes,
you. Thank you, man.
Folks, you know, with all of the things that we've had here, I know that the video's gone out. I'm still not showing any video at all. But we do record these shows as well. So if it doesn't make it to the when YouTube finally uploads everything, I will upload this show if it's not going to be complete. So you'll have a chance to hear the entire thing. And if you still don't get it, please just send me an email and I'll find a way to get the entire show to you. We don't want you to miss it. Thank you so much to our sponsors. Thank you so much to everyone that joined us. We've got one more show for the year, and that's on December 9th with Darden Purcell as our guest. So we hope that you'll join us then. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll see you next time.